Welcome in, everybody, to the Bourbon, Buzzed, and Ballin podcast. We are your hosts, Kolby and Dut, and we are here for episode 12. A dozen. We got a good show tonight. We're going to talk some current events. We're going to toast some guys. We're going to recap the NFL week 4. Week 5
now.
I'm losing track.
Yeah,
week
5 NFL, 6 in college.
And week 6 in college. And then we're going to give a quick little overview of the playoffs, even though we kind of missed the MLB Playoff start.
Well, the wild card, yeah. But, you know, the divisional series all started today. 2 of them already in the books. And the Yankees will start here in a little bit. And then you got the Dodgers and the Padres later tonight. So
gonna be a good show, man.
Well, speaking of baseball and the Yankees fixing to start, who you toasting tonight?
Oh yeah, let me toast Mr. Judge.
He broke that record, didn't he?
Yeah, he broke the record and then promptly took a break. a lot of pressure.
I can appreciate that. He didn't really have a shot at the batting title, so he wasn't going to win the Triple Crown.
Right.
I mean, he had to go 4 for 4, and the other dude had to go 0 for 4, something like that, to be able to get it. And
no, it was man, it's still an MVP caliber season.
He's definitely going to win MVP, and
he's still not my home run king.
Well, and that might be a discussion for another show.
I think we need to have that discussion. He's certainly the New York Yankees.
Well, he's the American League
home run king,
and he's the New York Yankees. So definitely, some great accomplishment.
That's right.
We've kind of been updating it for the last few weeks. With that and pool host. So congratulations to Judge. And I've got one other that I've over the last 2 or 3 years I've kind of been following F1 racing. And Max Verstappen clinched his 2nd consecutive title this weekend. I'm not the biggest Max fan, but still congratulate him on that accomplishment and wrapping it up so early in the season. He's really had a dominant season, so congratulations. And
I don't know what
I'm a big enough person, though, even though I'm not a fan of his, I'm still big enough to toast the accomplishment.
I don't know what goes into a Formula One season. You might have to do a little segment on a show to explain that.
Yeah, we can do that.
Might
we can
draw in some viewers for that.
All right, well, you know what? We're going to open a toast, and I forgot to change the slide.
It was a little sluggish, man. It was a long weekend.
Yeah, definitely. I didn't get back from T-Town till late last night. But anyway, let's raise our glasses and toast Mr. Judge and Mr. Verstappen. Congratulations, guys. Good accomplishments.
That's
good stuff. What are you sipping on tonight?
Man, I went to Southern Star right here in Carolina.
All the shout outs you give Southern Star, and we still haven't got an invite yet. So we're gonna have to reach out to them pretty soon.
Yeah, we need to. I like it.
Knock on the door.
It's a good sipper for me.
Yeah, it is a good one. I think we're getting kind of low on that. We're probably gonna have to have to get us another bottle here soon.
I see it a lot.
Yeah, it's not hard to find, especially since it's
so local.
40 minutes up the road from us. So I got Willet, which is one of my kind of go-tos, one of my favorites. So that's what I'm sipping on tonight.
Willet's good, man. Willet's good.
During last week's show, I expressed how I'm tired of talking about scumbags every week. But you know what? I decided. You made the point last week that hey, it's something that people like to discuss. It's out there, and it seems like every week we got a number of them to choose from.
And it's getting more and more. I mean, it's crazy.
So I just decided rather than stop talking about it, let's just make it a segment.
Have our own segment.
We're just going to embrace it, make our own segment, and call it the Scumbag of the Week.
Scumbag of the Week.
And they get the piece of shit emoji award.
I can't imagine. What do we do if we don't find a scumbag out there?
I don't think that's going to be a problem.
Not with social media. With social media and TikTok and Instagram.
Well, speaking of social media, one of my candidates was Antonio Brown. I don't know if you saw the tweet that he put up.
Yeah,
it was
I heard
very tasteless, ignorant. I don't even want to go into what it was and give any more credence to it. And this comes a week after he was on camera in Dubai exposing himself to some woman in the pool. So I mean, Antonio Brown. If there's ever a week where we don't have one, we'll just default to Antonio Brown.
Man, he's so past news.
Devonte Adams. Speaking of wide receivers,
yeah.
Devonte Adams after the game last night was going back to the locker room, and the cameraman kind of jumped in front of him a little bit.
I mean, I
kind of see.
I've had this discussion today. I don't know.
Devonte he shoved him a little harder than he.
Yeah, but it looked reaction like the guy cut him off. It took him off. He was off guard. He was probably already raw from the L.
Oh, he was, yeah.
And so to me, just like he reacted,
right?
And it just doesn't. It seems out of character for Devonte.
It does. And I'm a fan. He's been on my fantasy team for years now.
I'm okay, and
that's why he didn't
quick.
He did, and that's why he didn't win the award this week. But he was a potential candidate.
Yeah, I get it. I knew this was going to be a discussion tonight.
Right.
If you didn't bring it up, I was going to zing you with it in the NFL portion. I definitely don't.
And then another football player, although a former football player, Brett Favre is now saying he's being unjustly smeared in the media over the welfare scandal, and he's proclaiming his innocence. He didn't know where that money was coming from, and.
Yeah, there's some text and voicemails that
kind of disprove what he's saying. That's why I had him on the list. I mean, typically I would say okay, innocent until proven guilty, but it seems like there's already been some proof.
Yeah, and I'm sure more will come to light on that one.
Right.
I got one.
Okay, who you got?
Draymond Green.
Yeah.
Draymond Green.
Good old Dre.
Knocked out his own teammate.
At practice, I mean,
that was vicious too.
He went up to him and got in his face, and I think Poole kind of pushed him off a little bit. But as soon as he pushed him off, I mean,
it was quick.
He reached way back and popped him in the face.
Jordan Poole, though, you mess with Draymond Green, given his track record, you should be ready. I mean, if you're gonna shove a man. I mean, if he gets in your space and then you're going to back him off with
this is your teammate.
I know, but still, you got to have them deuces ready, man. There's just no way I think I would have not been prepared for a punch. And I feel like it was Michigan State versus Michigan. It was a little Sparty taking out some frustration on Michigan there. But yeah,
so Dre's your pick for the scumbag.
Man. Yeah.
Well, and my pick also was due to throwing a punch, and it wasn't a teammate, but it was so the Tennessee starting safety. He's a senior, Jalen McCullough. He was arrested for felony assault because some guy was drinking at an apartment complex, went to his car to get something, came back, and when he did, he opened the wrong apartment door. Right. He opened the door that McCullough was in with his girlfriend, and he immediately apologized, backed out, and started leaving down the steps. Well, McCullough comes out after him and keeps going on, and the guy was like, "You don't have to be a dickhead about this," or they didn't say exactly what they had blanked out the expletive. So I don't know exactly what he called McCullough, but then McCullough proceeded to punch him in the face, knock his teeth out, knocked him off the steps, knocked him unconscious. So when the guy came to, he called the cops, and McCullough had left, but the cops were interviewing his girlfriend, and she had him come back, and his hand was all bloodied and in a rag, and so he was arrested for felony assault. And this being the weekend before the biggest game of your life.
Biggest game Tennessee.
Tennessee hadn't seen a game like this in 20 years. And now they haven't ruled him out. They're saying they're still gathering information, but I can't imagine that he'll be and able to play by
it's
Saturday.
A felony, so yeah, exactly. Unless this guy, and I don't think even he can drop the charges at this point.
No, I think once it's
police report's been made and there's been violence. I don't know that the state will allow him to drop it.
And this could also affect his draft status because he was going to be a mid to late round draft pick is what they had him projected at. But It's a shame. You know, all it takes is that split-second reaction.
Crazy, man.
And it can cost you so
crazy. You can't even have arguments anymore with anybody. At least it's good to know that at least it ended up with a fist fight and not a shot. You know, somebody getting shot.
Yeah, this is true. This is true. Because that's happening way too much right now also.
Absolutely.
All right, well, those are our scumbags of the week.
Scumbags of the week, man.
So let's come on in hot right now.
It.
And you might notice I'm wearing my Rangers jersey tonight. Old Artemi Panarin. Hockey season officially starts tonight. There's 2 games tonight. And,
who's the reigning champs?
That'd be your Avalanche.
Colorado Avalanche.
So yeah, that's one thing happening today. A little bit of unfortunate news I heard about today was the Kansas quarterback, Jalen Daniels.
Yeah.
Who was having a great season.
He was having a good season.
Had them undefeated. And, of course, they lost this weekend. But when I tuned into the game, he was already on the sideline with his arm in a sling. So I don't know how much he actually played in that game. But
I think he played through the majority of the first quarter.
Okay.
I didn't watch the game. I flipped back and forth. Yeah.
But he was diagnosed today with a grade 3 separation of his right shoulder. So most likely done for this year. So a little unfortunate news for Mr. Daniels.
Yeah, it's unfortunate for Kansas too, but their backup came in and looked.
Oh, he did.
Looked pretty
good.
He
did. He really did.
Like
of course, Kansas has got they got a brutal schedule the rest of the way.
Yeah,
brutal
they
schedule.
Do. I mean, it's still a great season for Jayhawk.
Oh, absolutely.
Jayhawk family. I'm sure they're pretty excited. But their backup quarterback absolutely looks like he can continue on with a very good season for them. So
yeah, he impressed me the little bit of that game I watched.
Yep.
Some good news out of the NFL this weekend.
Good news.
Mr. Brian Robinson.
B-Rob,
after only 6 weeks out from being shot twice in his leg, I guess once in the knee and once in the butt, made his return to the field. Oh, and he got a tremendous ovation.
Did he?
When they let him come out of the tunnel last during introductions.
Oh, nice.
And he came out to a 50 Cent, because 50 Cent is a shooting survivor also.
Oh,
he was shot like 9 times. And so he came out to 50 Cent song and got a tremendous ovation from the Washington people. It was great to see. He didn't have the greatest game. He was like 9 carries for 22 yards.
Sure.
But just that he was back on the field.
I think Antonio Gibson only had 3 carries in that game. So it's B-Rob's job.
I think it's still his job. He just got to knock the rust. And, of course,
absolutely.
That he needs that offensive line to open a hole or two for him.
Right. Yeah, that might be a big discussion there for the Commanders.
Yeah.
We get to see them on Thursday. How about that game?
Yeah, I can't wait. I'm glad there's a Rangers hockey game.
Yeah, we'll talk about that in the NFL
night.
segment.
Yeah.
Commanders, Bears. Ooh, that's like taking out the trash.
Well,
times 2.
I know this wasn't planned to discuss, but I wish they'd do away with Thursday night football.
Yeah.
Maybe Thanksgiving and maybe down the stretch.
Absolutely Thanksgiving.
I mean,
I
said maybe. Football. No, definitely Thanksgiving. And then maybe some games after Thanksgiving. And even I don't mind opening night. But too much bad football, too many injuries happen in that Thursday night game.
Yeah, I think it's way too unfair to the players.
And the only way that they should have a Thursday night game is if the team has a bye week before they play the Thursday night game. And that's why I say you can't do it at the beginning of the season, because you don't start buys until week 6.
Right.
This is actually the first weekend for buys. It's this weekend. So I would be okay with them starting it, now. But weeks 2 through 5, there shouldn't be any Thursday night football. What else you got coming in hot?
Matt Rule gone.
Right.
I'm gonna toast to that one, because
I'll clank you on that one.
Let's clank on that one.
11-27.
11-27.
A 298 win percentage.
1-27 when allowing 7 15 points or more.
Yeah.
And 0 for the last 25. I mean, David Tepper, and then I don't know if you saw his press conference. I listened to it. I didn't see it. I listened to it, man, and that owner is so out of touch with Charlotte.
I have not been impressed with a single thing he's done.
I mean, Mr. Tepper, I hope this gets back to you, but I mean, you got to get on the ground in Charlotte with your fan base, because I've been to a couple of games at Carolina during his tenure over the last 2 years. I mean, he's been here for 3 now, I think, right? 3 or 4. But at any rate, the whole stadium is whoever's playing Carolina. It's either 50-50 or by halftime it's more.
Yeah, they don't have a home field advantage.
They do not have a home field advantage. And, I mean, it's just – I've never seen an owner so out of touch with reality. I mean, all he wanted to talk about was Charlotte FC. He was just trying to divert. And, I mean, it's simple. You made a mistake.
Yeah.
With hiring Matt Rule. It was obvious to many that he was such a dud.
Yeah. Well, and, he dumped all that, or he got that project started down in South Carolina for their whole training facility, and then he bailed on that,
Yeah.
Halfway, not even halfway into it. And he just, I'm not a fan of his.
No, I mean, he's just, his press conference, I think he said, look. I mean, he said look in front of almost every sentence. I mean, it was like, I thought billionaires were polished.
Right.
I mean, he is totally not polished. And I don't want to turn into just bashing him, but he's ultimately who hired Rule.
Yeah.
So, I mean.
And he did it because he was afraid another team wanted him. So it wasn't that he did all his due diligence. He thought, oh, the Giants want him, so I gotta get him signed because
No, it was ugly. It was ugly.
Yeah, so Steve Wilkes is gonna be the interim.
Yeah, and his press conference was really good. It seemed it was difference of night and day listening to him and Coach Rule.
And he does have a year of coaching.
He does. Got some experience for sure. And they say he's got a shot at the job. I don't know.
Well, did you hear Sean Payton called it an attractive job?
Yeah, that was encouraging. I mean, obviously, I think Sean Payton clearly would vault to the top of the heap, so to speak, when it comes to
if there's
coaches.
An opening and he's interested.
Yeah, it's a done deal.
It's a done deal.
But I think Scott Fitterer ought to be a little worried about that though, because I can't see, and I think Tepper even alluded to it, that the next coach is going to have maybe some crossover GM duties. And Sean Payton clearly
does
seems like the logical fit for that, because the other candidates like a Eric Bieniemy, and I've even heard Shane Waldron, Seattle's offensive coordinator, who has ties with Fitterer. Mm-hmm. But those kind of guys are not going to have that crossover GM
like Peyton.
Experience like Peyton.
Right.
I mean, Peyton would be a home run, I would think.
Well, and Wilkes gets to start his tenure without his starting quarterback.
Yeah.
Baker's going to, high ankle sprain, going to be out 2 to 6 weeks. I don't know if that's a bad thing.
Might be a blessing in disguise.
PJ Walker will be the starter moving forward.
I mean, honestly, based on these first 5, I don't see how P.J. Walker's not an upgrade. And, I know Baker's a better quarterback than what he's shown. He's clearly better than what he's shown. But
how many head coaches is he going to cost them their jobs?
that ought to get its own slide, man. We ought to have a slide on that.
Well, you got anything else coming in hot, or you want to just jump right on into the NFL while we're on it?
I say we roll into the NFL.
Okay. Well, and then there was one. Of course, this is the second week of the Eagles being the only undefeated team, but they didn't look real impressive.
They found a way to get it done.
Only 139 yards on the ground for the league's best rushing offense.
Right.
Jalen was just kind of so.
Well, that's to me the recipe is to just stop him from the run and make Jalen beat you with his arm. And I mean, you can hang with the Eagles, but you still have their defense to contend with. And
yeah, because I'm not impressed with the Cardinals this year. So that they struggled with the Cardinals is, they're going to get tested this week.
Yeah.
And it's actually one of my games to watch this week. But the Eagles get the Cowboys Sunday night.
Now the Eagles and the Cowboys is definitely a game to watch. That'll be a good game for sure. How about your Giants over the Packers? That was a worthy victory.
I'll tell you, Daniel Jones, these last few weeks is changing my opinion of him.
Well, maybe that's what he's doing, trying to change the Giants' opinion.
I mean, he even at the end of the game, he was all busted open and bloodied. I don't know if you saw. They showed a picture of his center, who looked like he was on his period because of Andrew taking the snap. I mean, Daniel taking the snaps. But now I have even the loss to the Cowboys wasn't on him.
Right.
He kept us in that game.
He's balling. He's balling. He's playing definitely above Danny Nichols.
He might be 7.5 cent to you right now,
huh? He's not Danny Nichols right now.
Nickel and a couple of pennies.
I'm not gonna call him Danny Dimes, but I'm gonna call him.
And the wide receiver core. Who's hurt any of these guys?
No, it's the list of who knows who's gonna get the ball. I mean, who knows their names? I don't.
I do think it's Dable and Wink are doing a fantastic coaching job.
Yeah, they look.
Between their coaching and you got Saquon, who looks like right now the best running back in the league, and Daniel, who's balling his ass off. I've heard things like worst 4-1 team in the history of the NFL, and
I heard we can no longer call them the worst 4-1 team because that's hard to say a bad 4-1.
And they got some good wins. I mean, they beat the Titans, they beat the Packers.
Right.
They're not dominating and blowing people away. And I think that's why people.
A W, man.
Yeah, a dub's a dub.
And then the week 5 is usually where you start to see the dust settling, and so
the Giants get a tough one this week also. Yeah. I know I'm jumping. I'm spoiler alert, but another game to watch is them versus the Ravens.
Yeah, that's going to be a good one. That's going to be a good one too. Yeah. That's at New York.
That one's in New York.
That's right.
Sure
That'll
is.
Be good. Yeah, no, I don't. I mean, I'm going to give the Giants the credit. I mean, I think the Packers. I mean, clearly. I mean, Aaron Rodgers right now, he's got no intermediate and deep passing game. I mean, right now
no, everything's check downs.
It is. It's really embarrassing.
And you wouldn't think that. You wouldn't think that out of Rodgers.
I know you wouldn't. And I mean, to get the ball, what was it? They had it 2nd and goal, and they threw it 2 times. I mean, you got A.J. Dillon and Aaron as your running backs, and you don't run the ball.
Right.
I mean, I kind of understood the first one because you want to catch the Giants up there for the run, but still, I mean, A.J. Dillon from the 1 yard line.
Yeah, he can.
Come on, man.
Drag 3 guys in with him.
Yeah, no.
Well, that's one thing you mentioned in the Packers game. Over the last few years, it seems like the offenses always beat the defenses. When it would come down to that last possession, the offenses would get that walk-off win. But this weekend, you had the Packers couldn't do it. The Commanders couldn't do it. The Browns couldn't do it. The Cardinals, of course, theirs was to try to tie and miss the field goal where they could have tied and took the Eagles to overtime. But defenses won out.
Yeah.
Even in college.
The Bears, they had a chance to rally and beat the Vikings, and the Vikings get a fumble recovery on the last.
Yeah, it's good to see some of these defensive stands because it seems like it's watching the Bama game Saturday. I was like, look, here we go again. But their defense stood up and made the play when they had to. So it's good to see. It's not always the offense winning it. If they've got that opportunity in the end. So I was glad to see some defenses standing tall.
So defenses standing tall and analytics. Handcuffing coaches.
Yeah, handcuff. Yeah. I don't know what.
Staley.
Not Staley, but McDaniel.
Oh yeah,
Josh.
last night.
4.5 minutes still to go in the game. Why are you going for 2?
I don't understand it. I don't get it. I mean, I get analytics. I do.
Yeah,
I mean, analytics are important.
Sometimes you got to use common sense.
You have to use your experience as a coach.
Yeah.
And that might be the problem with like Staley. He's got no experience. He's young.
Well, but both of those two coaches, that's their MO. They like to be aggressive and
but
go for it. But
fourth and 2 from your own, 46? From your own 46?
I don't even know if it was that.
With, what was it? There was a 4th and 1 from their own 46 with about a minute and 15 left.
Yeah.
And he goes for it. Not only does he go for it, he throws the ball incomplete, stops the clock.
Yeah.
You give him the ball back essentially at midfield with a 1-point lead. Field goal beats you. Man, that just makes zero sense.
Yes.
Now he got lucky. He got lucky, so that fuels to the fire for him because that's a victory on his analytics sheet. But he's going to lose his job over analytics.
Well, he missed out on the playoffs last year because of analytics.
Yeah, and they're struggling right now with what I would imagine the ownership considers a Super Bowl caliber team.
They definitely were preseason.
That's right. We had them up there for sure.
Yeah.
So I get it with analytics, but at some point, these coaches are going to have to use some common sense and play some old school mentality.
Well, these owners are going to have to come together and use some common sense and take the dresses off the quarterbacks, as Aikman said. Because this roughing the passer is getting ridiculous. I mean, you want to just two-hand touch the quarterback?
I mean, it's hard to watch sometimes. The game, it's hard to watch.
Yeah.
I mean, I get trying to protect, but I mean the call on time. I mean, and I love Brady.
Yeah,
I'm a Brady guy, but that was no roughing the passer.
No, I mean he didn't pick him up and slam him. He didn't. His body weight didn't come down on him. He kind of ragdolled him a little bit.
Yeah,
and of course that it is Brady, so I do think he gets some calls that other quarterbacks wouldn't.
He's definitely going to get some calls because Mahomes was looking like, when am I going to get a call?
Mahomes was taking a beating.
He did take a beating.
And then in that same game, Derek Carr, he's going to pass the ball, and Frank Clark comes from behind, takes the ball out of his hand while he's tackling him to the ground, puts his hand down so he doesn't bring all his weight down on top of Derek Carr. Should have been a fumble, turnover, Chiefs ball. They call roughing the passer.
And, Clark went out hurt. I don't know if it was that play, but that play might have hurt him.
I was listening to, I think it was Bart Scott on ESPN radio today, and he was talking about, what happens when a 300-pound man tries to catch himself with one wrist?
He breaks it.
Yeah, so
he breaks it. And, how in the world are these world-class athletes, like a Frank Clark, who has size and speed, how is he going to twist and contort his body in a half a second, even less than that?
Yeah, it's okay for the defender to get hurt, but let's not hurt the quarterback. Now, I get the quarterbacks are the marquee players, and I'm fine with no hitting them in the head, no hitting them late, no hitting them below the knees.
Sure.
I'm fine, but you got to still give them some way to tackle the quarterback.
Yeah, they got to figure this out.
They got this much they can tackle him with, and I do get to picking up and driving them and driving your body weight onto them. But just a tackle where you wind up on top, that's not roughing the passer.
Now, the problem with all of this is the subjectivity of it.
Right.
And I think as it's written was okay, but now it starts to become gray and it gets subjective and it goes from one, like Tom Brady being 100% protected, Mahomes not being protected
or Josh
at
Allen
all
because he's bigger and stronger.
Cam Newton in the day used
Ben Roethlisberger. It's kind of like the LeBron James rules in the NBA. I mean, he gets hacked and fouled every time he goes to the hole, but he's big and tough and strong and can take it, so we're not going to call a foul.
That's right.
Well, that's not.
No, they got to figure it out because they're losing some fans. I mean, I realize the NFL is a strong brand.
Right.
It's not going anywhere, but I mean.
Well, some people were saying it was an overreaction to the two-way injury.
Everyone's knee jerk for sure. So,
They need to figure things out.
And speaking of Tua, how ironic is it that Teddy Bridgewater, Tua's fill-in, gets
first play,
likely,
almost not first play,
maybe not even concussed because he
Right.
passed the protocol but wasn't allowed back in
because he wobbled a little bit.
Exactly.
So they had to go to a third-string quarterback.
That's right.
Yeah,
it's interesting.
It's been an ugly couple of weeks for all that in the NFL.
Did you see Quinnen Williams' stiff arm of Tyreek? That was beautiful. That was beautiful.
Yeah.
I love Quinnen.
Well, you know, they were kind of there was some animosity towards Tyreek because he spurned the Jets to go to the Dolphins. So I know they were
he basically
enjoying that.
What did he say? Who are the Jets or something?
Well, this week it came out that he had to make an adult decision, and there's no income tax in Florida, and there is in New York. So he went with Florida.
I got you.
So.
Oh well, yeah, that was some good games, man.
Yeah, the Jets, man. You know, that's what I know. I preach too much on the whole Tua subject, but they always talk about Tua's not a good quarterback. Every time that Tua goes out and the Dolphins have to play somebody else at quarterback, they lose.
They get smashed.
Yet all Tua does is win, but he's not a good quarterback.
No.
Anyway.
No, they got smashed, man. They got smashed. Dallas and Philly, Dallas. I can't wait to see that game. That's going to be a good one.
That's definitely that, and the Bills and the Chiefs.
Yeah. Oh, definitely.
Sunday, just get your popcorn, get your buffalo wings, get your pizza, whatever you need. Sit down at 1:00, watch the Giants against the Ravens. Then go to the 4:25 game and watch the Bills versus the Chiefs. Then eat your little dinner and get ready for the nightcap with the Cowboys versus the Eagles. That's a hell of a triple header right there.
Yeah,
that is 3 good games in 3 different time slots.
Should be some compelling football for sure.
Should be some good football.
Yeah, because that Buffalo KC.
Yeah, you've got the same.
Yeah,
same as me.
Those
to me are the 3 best games of the weekend, and that's going to be my viewing schedule.
Yeah, I kind of want to see what Wink's going to do with Lamar.
I'll be sitting right over there in the theater.
Yeah,
watching it all day Sunday.
Yep, cool.
Yeah, that's right. I forgot about the Wink Lamar match because Wink was the DC at Baltimore. I didn't even take that into consideration. But yeah,
you got some insight into maybe what it takes to stop Lamar.
That will be interesting.
Giants could go to 5-1, man.
They've already reached their win total from last season.
I know. Well, I think they've reached what we suggested their win total was going to be this year. I mean, it's going to be interesting revisiting our early predictions from weeks ago.
Yeah, and I mean, I still
they still have a tough schedule.
Yeah, I don't view them as legit contenders this year, but
Daniel Jones is balling. Jones is balling. Saquon looks good.
If they could get some of these wide receivers healthy.
Well, I also saw that the Giants are high on the list of maybe a trade for DJ Moore.
Yeah, I heard a little bit about that today. And then another name I heard, which I don't know if he's really would be traded, but T. Higgins. Because he's fallen a little bit down the target share chart down there in Cincinnati.
Well, they do have an excess.
Yeah.
So that might be a good move by the Bengals because they might be able to.
I'll throw another name out there. If the Giants are in playoff contention, Odell.
Yeah, I'm really surprised Odell's still sitting around.
Well, I mean, they know he can't play until at least November. So I think Odell's sitting back. I think he wants to see where the teams are at.
Yeah, he wants a ring.
Yeah, he wants another ring. Sure. I don't blame him. No. I mean, at this point.
No, he might as well be hired for.
Yeah, he's gonna be a hired gun.
Yeah, hired gun. Yeah, for sure.
All right. Anything else you want to add on the NFL?
No.
All right.
No, I'm good.
Let's jump into college.
Let's do it.
Week 6 of college football.
Week 6, not much change. I flip-flopped my top 5.
I did too.
I think I'll start with my outside looking in still.
Okay.
I actually think I got Oklahoma State ahead of USC. Outside looking in, I know Oklahoma State had a little bit of a struggle win. So did USC for that matter. But I think Oklahoma State to me is better than USC. Of course, you got the Vols, and you got Ole Miss.
I was actually tempted to put the Vols in my top 5 this week.
Who you gonna bump out? Clemson?
Well, actually, I probably would have bumped your guys out.
Oh, based on one.
Well, actually, though, Michigan, they haven't really had any.
No, there's not a
dominating win. I mean, they're letting teams hang around with
There's
them.
no signature win,
right? Yeah,
no dominant signature
but
win.
Then when I went back and looked at Tennessee's schedule and who their wins have come against and this and that, and it really wasn't that impressive.
Not really.
I think they're a little bit over. I think the AP is just caught up in being in the now. It's like, okay, this week Georgia had the better win, they're number 1. This week Alabama had the better win, they're number 1. I mean, they keep flip-flopping people around, and if you really look at a side-by-side comparison of Georgia and Alabama, their seasons are almost mirror images.
Right.
Where they've, each had 2 or 3 struggle wins and 3 blowouts, or where they played cupcake teams.
Yeah,
and if you look at, take the last 4 weeks, if you take a look, the last 4 weeks, Georgia and Alabama both have 2 struggle wins and 2 blowouts. And Georgia's, so the struggle wins for Bama was at Texas,
right,
with 15 turnovers. At A&M, not at A&M.
15 penalties.
15 penalties. A&M in Tuscaloosa this past weekend without Bryce Young, playing a freshman quarterback making his first career start.
And 37 turnovers.
He did it, fumble 2 himself and 1 interception. So those are the 2 Bama struggle wins, at Texas and against Texas A&M with our backup quarterback playing. Georgia's 2 struggle wins, at Missouri and then at home against Kent State.
Yeah.
So if I'm going to give a check mark to who had the better struggle wins, that check's going to the Bama side.
Yeah, yeah.
All right, then the blowout wins. Bama at Arkansas, and then versus Vandy at home. And then the Georgia blowout wins were at South Carolina, and then Auburn at home. So, to me, probably the most impressive of the blowout wins would be the Bama at Arkansas.
Yeah, given the time frame and what Arkansas was ranked at the time. Yeah.
So, there again, I'm going to give the check mark over there to Bama. So, I like that we're not number 1. I know it sounds like I'm making an argument for why we should be number 1. Actually, on my list, I've got Ohio State number 1.
Me too.
So, I think we should be number 2 and Georgia number 3.
Me too.
So,
me too.
Yep, we disagree at 4 and 5, though.
Yeah.
I did bump your guys down this week because Clemson does look like they're starting to figure things out.
Yeah, and I got that.
The defense is starting to get back to what we thought they were going to be.
Yeah, but
and I think their
offense is still.
Yeah, but the main reason I jumped them over Michigan is because I think they've got the best win. The NC State win to me,
definitely
is the tiebreaker,
and the Wake.
So I tried to look at body of work and circumstances, and that's why each week up till now I've been going by the AP's ranking. Well, I'm doing my own ranking like you've been doing from now on. I'm doing my own ranking. So, like I said, I had Michigan at 5. I see you got them at 4.
Honestly, though, if you were to take resume, you could make an argument to bump Clemson to number 1 if you really consider NC State and Wake to be ranked opponents.
This is true.
They have the most impressive resume for W's, but the eye test says no.
Right.
That
is a good point.
So that's the whole thing about this whole discussion. It's subjective.
Right. Yeah.
Every bit of this is subjective. I think the committee and the number of committee members is what makes a difference and brings a little bit of sanity to this discussion. And the committee doesn't kick in for another few weeks.
Right.
So we're gonna see Alabama.
It's gonna be
drop.
a committee of two right now.
Yeah, that's right. Our committee of two almost sees eye.
Yeah,
to
we
eye.
were pretty close. And like I said, the only reason I jumped Clemson, and I think you might have. You sound like you're talking yourself into thinking you probably should have had Clemson ahead of Michigan.
Well, I mean, if you start taking, I try to not get too caught up in the week to week because I've been a huge proponent, or I've been a huge in discussions about resumes, because you can't compare what one team does from week to week and what they did against a common opponent from 3 weeks ago. None of that matters. And the pulse of the team changes from week to week, from month to month. And so you never can tell. You like Kent State, Georgia struggling with Kent State. I kind of wrote that off. Now the Missouri struggle, that was eye-opening a little bit. The Alabama struggle against A&M, it should be written off.
Should Georgia have started the year at number one and still be there because they haven't lost a game?
They clearly should have started at number one, but that's another, again, that's subjective, and that's based on a bunch of writers deciding who has the best roster coming in, who's loaded at what position coming in. Georgia was decimated at some positions.
I'm gonna give a spoiler alert right now.
So go for it.
Next week's number one team for me, whoever wins in Knoxville this weekend, because that's gonna be the best win any resume.
Oh yeah, Tennessee will vault. I don't know that I will vault them to number one, but Tennessee will clearly vault well inside my top five if they do pull off the victory.
It's gonna depend on what kind of victory it is. I'll say that, but
and it's going to depend on who starts and who finishes at quarterback.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Well, it's going to kind of depend on the victory, but if Alabama wins that game, without a doubt, they got number one.
Alabama vaults clearly to number one with a W, and that's what you and I have said this for years. Like, I see people arguing about who should, everyone waits for the AP poll to come out, and then they start whining and bitching and complaining. But who cares? I could care less if Alabama fell to 6 right now.
Yeah. I want to be the number one rated team the day after the national championship. I don't want to be number one up until then.
And if your team is in the discussion, then your team is going to have worthy games by season end to build their resume. Who cares where they're ranked now?
Right.
I mean, it's only, and you may even argue that it's only for us to have things to talk about. Really,
it's.
I mean, the grand scheme of things, they might be just puppeteering all of us to have these discussions. Because,
and actually, I think it's not helping Tennessee that Alabama fell to number 3, because that's just going to piss those boys off, and Nick's going to use it as fuel that they're being disrespected and they played shitty and they don't deserve it, and they better go out there and earn. I mean, all that did was just give Nick more ammunition, as if he needed any.
They did play off. We got lucky. We got lucky to escape with that one.
I don't know that I call it lucky, though, because
we
were in control the whole game.
I call it lucky because
sloppy.
we played sloppy, and we
never trailed.
We basically beat ourselves, and Texas A&M just didn't take advantage.
Well, that's the thing. Alabama has tried to give away 2 games and still won those games. So to me, that's the sign of
those are championship builders.
Exactly. So, and I could see us losing this weekend to Tennessee, but still,
it doesn't hurt our cause.
No, it won't hurt us.
It'll drop us back, but we still have still have the Mississippi schools.
Yeah, and Auburn and LSU. And if we win all those,
exactly.
we're in the SEC championship.
And then a victory in the SEC championship, we're
almost
assured of being back in.
Yeah. So a loss this early does make it hard. The margin for error is greatly reduced, but it doesn't diminish the season.
Right.
Especially if we have to play it again without Bryce.
I could see, like I said, I picked Oklahoma State to run the table in the bigs. I could see Oklahoma State getting into the top 4 discussion if we were to slip up and lose a game, if any one of the current top 4 to slip up and lose a game. And if USC gets by Utah this weekend, I can see USC running the table in the pack and going undefeated.
There's going to be either Georgia or Alabama is guaranteed to have at least one loss.
Sure.
Michigan, Ohio State.
Guaranteed.
So there is going to be some opportunity for if Oklahoma State goes undefeated, if a USC goes undefeated, if Clemson goes undefeated.
Yeah, because you can almost. Clemson survived their biggest test, what we thought.
Yeah.
And so if Clemson doesn't struggle,
I think they got Florida State this weekend, don't they?
Yeah, they got FSU. They still have some losable games.
Yeah.
Because Clemson can always pull a Clemson.
Right.
And DJ can get hurt. Who knows? You never know what can happen. But
any team can be upset.
I could see this year, Clemson running the table, Oklahoma State running the table, USC running the table, and then that doesn't leave a whole lot of room.
Yeah, how about that Oklahoma State TCU matchup this weekend?
Yeah.
That's going to be a nice one.
Going to be a nice one.
Yeah, I've got that as a game to watch. I got Penn State, Michigan.
Me too.
That's a two top 10 schools kicking off at noon. Of course, I got Alabama, Tennessee, number 3 versus number 6. I can't believe Alabama opened as a 7.5-point favorite.
I can. It's the Alabama factor.
Yeah, that still surprised me with the uncertainty
at
around quarterback. But like I said, that whoever wins that game is gonna have a lot of clout.
NC State Syracuse is a ranked game. I'm not watching it, but but that's a ranked game. Mississippi State versus UK, Kentucky State. Mississippi State's looking pretty good, man.
Kentucky. The shine is off.
I know, but they played without their stud.
Yeah, this is true. Levis wasn't in the game.
That was a big deal.
Yep.
That was a big deal.
Yeah, it's too bad these teams are having to play without their star quarterbacks.
I know, it's so tough.
But
so we talked about a Heisman list. Let's jump into our way too early mid-season.
Did you rank yours or just list them? Or?
I just listed the guys that I think should be in contention.
Okay. Because I rated them. I got my top 5. I got 3.
Okay.
I got 3 quarterbacks and 2 running backs.
All right.
And
go for it.
And this is as of today.
Okay.
So I didn't include Bryce Young.
No,
because he's hurt right now, and
he hasn't put up Heisman numbers.
No. I think if he can get back on the field either this week or next week and shows out, I think he still could have a chance at the Heisman. But right now, I got C.J. Stroud as my number 1. His QBR almost 95. His quarterback rating 207.6. 24 touchdown passes already.
Yeah.
Over 1,700 passing yards. Those are video game numbers. So
he started out sluggish, but he's definitely...
He's not much of a runner. He's got 10 carries for 4 yards. Of course, I'm sure sacks took away some of his yardage, but that
bodes well for Sundays.
He right now is in the driver's... Yeah, that's what I was about to say as far as Sundays. He's in the driver's seat right now for the Heisman and for the number 1 overall pick in next year's NFL draft. Next one's might be surprising. I don't think I see him over there on your list, but Mr. Dorian Thompson Robinson.
Yeah.
From UCLA. Now, he's put up over 1,500 yards of passing, 15 touchdowns. His QBR is 88. His QB rating is 180. He also has run for over 200 yards and 4 touchdowns on the ground. So I've got him as my number 2 right now.
And he's got a good team. That's important.
So that's my number 2. My number 3, we're going to see him this weekend in Knoxville.
Yeah.
Hendon Hooker. He's having a nice season. He's got over 1,400 yards and 10 touchdowns. QBR is 90.4. QB rating 179.5. And he also, like Thompson Robinson, his rushed for over 200 yards, and he's got 3 touchdowns on the ground. So some nice numbers. Any other quarterbacks you got mentioned?
I still have Caleb Williams in the discussion. He's coming on.
He laid that egg a couple weeks ago,
know,
and that's kind of bumped him down the list for me.
But he's coming on, and I also have Will Rogers out of Mississippi State.
Yeah, he's put up.
He's got some video game numbers.
Yeah, but they weren't quite what these guys were at. And of course, I know some of these early in the season. You got some of these padded stats against lesser opponents.
Sure.
So those have a way of working themselves out as the season goes on.
Yeah.
But like I said, I just based it on it if I had to hand out the trophy today.
Yeah, I mean, I did that too, but I felt like his numbers were worthy enough to make my list.
And then my number 4 is a running back who also is going to be in that game in Knoxville this weekend, Mr. Gibbs for Alabama. I actually got him right now as the highest rank in Alabama for the Heisman. And when I looked at all his, rushing, receiving, and returning, he's almost at 1,000 yards.
Yeah.
He's at 864 yards. Now, not a lot of touchdowns. He's only got 5 touchdowns.
Right.
And 2 of those were 70-yarders. But that's what, when they get in tight, they bring in the bigger backs. They bring in Jace or Roydell. So he's not going to get any goal line carries. So he's only got the 2 long rushing touchdowns, and his other touchdowns are through the air. But as far as just all-purpose yardage, very impressive. And he's averaging 8.3 a rush, 10 every carry, and 28 yards every return. So, I mean, ridiculous numbers, all-around threat. And then I got your boy, Blake Coram, as my number 5, my number 2 running back. He's 735 yards on the ground with 11 touchdowns. That's pretty impressive. 11 rushing touchdowns.
5 in one game.
Yeah, that kind of pads the stats a little bit, but still. And then he's not much of a threat receiving or returning, so his totals don't look quite as good as Jamar. So that's why I had him behind Gibbs as far as running backs go.
Yeah, I didn't rank mine, but I got C.J. Stroud, Hendon Hooker, Caleb Williams, Will Rogers as quarterbacks. I think we kind of see similar numbers from all these guys. I agree with C.J. Stroud. Running back wise, the only one I have, and I really didn't add Gibbs, only because I didn't want to be a homer.
Well, his stats are kind of sneaky.
They're sneaky, yeah. You're right. They are sneaky.
I didn't expect him to have as much as he had.
Right.
Because it is such a committee.
Early on, his numbers weren't huge,
weren't impressive.
and they've gotten better. But as the season's rolled on, he's become way more integral to the offense than early on. So yeah, I can see that. But I of course I got Blake Coram, and then I have the Pitt running back.
Okay.
Israel Abanikanda.
Yeah, I didn't include him because I didn't want to have to say his name.
I didn't want to have to say his name either, but he's put up some good numbers too. So I think those are some of the names that have kind of jumped out in the lead, so to speak.
Okay.
Obviously, Hendon Hooker has a chance to really make a name for himself this weekend.
Oh yeah, I mean he could
actually vault.
He could vault.
Top of the list.
Here's your, and he's gonna have a few Heisman opportunities because he's got Georgia still to play.
Sure.
So this next 3 or 4 weeks for Hendon Hooker.
Yeah, they're important.
Yeah, he can really put his name up there, or he can disappear off of the watch list. All right. Well, another segment we started last week was the Mallards picks.
Oh yeah.
And
the Mallards picks.
The Duck, he went 5-0 week 1. Well, the Duck struggled a little bit this week.
He did struggle.
Yeah, we like to say he took it on the beak.
Yeah, you did take it on the beak, Mallard.
He only went 2 for 5 this week. I know we were gonna try to get them.
That's 10-2, man.
No,
I mean,
he went
no,
2-5, so he's
2-5,
7-5
yeah,
overall,
so he's
which is still when you look at these other guys, if they're 500,
right.
A lot of them have a losing record, but
yeah,
and we had only asked for 5 picks, so if he would have left off his last 2, he would have been 7-3.
Well, it's still a work in progress. But
UCLA cost him, and San Jose, he thought UNLV would be able to hang with San Jose.
Yeah, and he's a West Coast guy, so you'll see a lot of West Coast influence on his picks.
Yep. Yeah. So send those picks in again. We'd like to get them earlier where we can get them on the show.
We were going to do a TikTok because he really can't get them in.
I know it's Monday or Tuesday. It's still kind of early in the week, and
we were going to do a TikTok with Mallard's picks, but I was sick as a dog. I'm still kind of getting over it. Right. So there was no way we could do a TikTok and announce. But
maybe this week
we can come out with a TikTok Thursday night and announce some picks.
Yep.
And see where that goes.
Yeah. Well, obviously we're not padding his stats, or I wouldn't have made him 2-5.
No, they're legit, man.
He's still up, and that's when you're gambling, that's the important thing.
That's good in the gambling game. And he had some other picks that he didn't really publish those.
Yeah. That
he actually hit on.
Okay.
So he's got other picks.
Right.
These are just the ones he submitted. Yeah, exactly.
All right. Well, let's move over to baseball.
Let's finish up with a little baseball.
Talk a little playoffs, because the divisional series started tonight. 2 games, like I said earlier, already over with. The Phillies beat the Braves 7-6 at Atlanta. Atlanta's the higher seed there, obviously. And then right before we started taping, we watched Yordan Alvarez with a 3-run jack.
Yeah, a little
walk-off home run to save the Astros in Game 1 versus the Mariners.
That's tough. I would like to have seen the Mariners jump out on the Astros.
Yeah, the Mariners have got,
they are.
Julio Rodriguez.
Oh.
He's the future of baseball, and you know what? The future's now.
Yeah,
because that kid is amazing.
He is amazing, and they're so young.
I can see this kind of being like, the Astros were here, and now the Mariners are creeping up on them and trying to make that move past them, and they've got the talent to do it. They add a few more pieces.
Right.
I mean, they shelled Verlander today.
Yeah.
Verlander started for the Astros and gave up 6 runs, all earned, in just 4 innings. So yeah. I still, in that series, I still like the Astros.
Well,
of course, now they won Game 1, but even before I knew the outcome of Game 1.
Of course. I think, I honestly, I thought the Astros were going to sweep them.
Yeah.
Just because
their experience
and the Mariners aren't as strong across the board, and they're young.
Yeah.
So I kind of felt like the Astros were going to sweep them. Just the fact that it didn't look like the game, the pressure was too big for them, and they had a chance to win that. Well, I think they can give the Astros a good series.
I think also sometimes these first games kind of the teams that had to play in the wild card have a little bit of an advantage, because they're not having to shake any rust. And I think we saw it in both games today.
Right.
With the Braves fell behind early and finally they needed a 3-run home run just to lose by 1.
Right, close it up.
And then Houston was trailing the whole game, and it took them a while. So I think you got these teams that just came off of games that are already, in a groove, and you got the other teams that had their byes trying to get back into a groove. So, who you like? You said you like the Astros.
Yeah, I mean, I like the Astros to sweep the Mariners just because the Mariners' age, I think, is going to get them.
Maybe they can get one in Seattle.
Yeah, I guess they can. Cleveland is so.
That's another.
God, they're so balanced, and
that's another. They remind me a lot of the Mariners.
They're good, man, across the board. Every facet of the game they're good in, and the Yankees. The Yankees are missing a few cogs to the wheel.
Yeah, Aroldis Chapman, he went AWOL.
Yeah.
So they left him off the postseason roster. Scott Efris, I don't know how you pronounce his name, but he's having Tommy John surgery, so he's done, and he was one of their top bullpen arms. DJ LeMahieu, he's injured. Andrew Benintendi, he's injured, and Frankie Montas. And Benintendi and Montas were the ones they traded for at the deadline,
right,
to help put them over the top, and now they're missing both of them.
And they live and die by the bomb.
Yeah.
And Aaron.
Yeah, so I mean, all the Guardians have to do
struggling a little bit.
Yeah,
towards the end.
All the Guardians have to do is, not let Judge beat them. And I actually picked the Guardians to win this series.
Yeah, I mean, I think the Yankees are going to win it just because it's the Yankees. But I could see the Guardians.
The Yankees have not looked good. I mean, they were letting the rest of the division catch them.
I know.
Towards the end of the season.
I know, and the Guardians are just.
That's my only upset that I picked was the Guardians. I got the Braves and Dodgers. Even though the Braves dropped Game 1, I still think that they'll bounce back from that.
Phillies are hot though.
The Phillies are hot.
They are hot.
They are hot, but I still like the defending champs.
And they probably got Kyle Wright going in Game 2 against Charlie Morton.
Yeah.
We'll see. I like the Braves to win it. I think the Phillies, if the Braves get their bats going again early on and can get into the Phillies bullpen, the bullpen sucks.
Well, and isn't that where David Robertson, isn't he the Phillies now?
No, he's
the relief pitcher.
Oh, yeah.
Kimbrel's with the Dodgers, and he got left off the postseason, and Dave Robertson also is injured, and he's not. So, like you said, if you can get to the bullpen, you're in good shape.
Yeah.
And then the Padres and the Dodgers, there's a lot of star power in that series.
Yeah, there is, man. I just can't see the Dodgers' firepower and their pitching staff. I mean,
they won 111 games.
111 games.
Yeah, they're to me, they're the team to beat. But, the Padres went out, spent a lot of money, made a lot of trades. Of course, it seems like everybody they traded for left their game with the team they left.
Yeah, they definitely didn't bring their game with them.
Exactly. Josh Hader's been terrible.
Maybe they'll find it in the playoffs.
Juan Soto's just been so-so.
Right.
But, you look at the players on those two rosters.
And without Tatis, man.
Yeah.
Imagine if they had Tatis. That would be a big difference maker. But I like the Dodgers, man. I
do too.
Their pitching staff.
If you ask me to predict it on out, I would probably say Dodgers versus the Astros.
Yeah, naturally.
And then I would go with the Dodgers. Of course, the Dodgers always find a way to choke.
Kershaw,
well,
man.
They did win one year, but
Kershaw always struggles in the playoffs, man. I don't understand it, but we'll see.
Yeah, it should be 4 good series anyway.
Yeah. Oh yeah. It's baseball in October, man.
Right. That's when it counts.
That is when it's interesting too. Yeah. The walk off that we saw tonight, just sitting here before the podcast.
Right.
That was pretty sweet to watch. So
it was. Right.
Sweet. Episode 12, man.
Episode 12 in the books. Well, not quite in the books. We still I got us a couple of Old Foresters over there. Old Forester's got a series of like 5 different bourbons, and we're going to start out with a couple of them tonight, and we'll taste those. And so we'll head over to the bar, and we'll taste those, and then we'll rate that shit. See you at the bar.
All right. See you.
4, 3, 2, are you ready?
Well, we've made it over to Kolby's bar. It's time for rate that shit. We got a couple of big dogs.
We do.
Some good ones.
Yep. Both kind of pricey. They're in the $55 to $60 range. This is from the the Whiskey Row series for Old Forester. Obviously, they're from the Old Forester Distilling Company in Louisville, Kentucky. And so what we've got today, the first one we're going to taste is called the Statesman, and it's 95 proof, and it's supposed to have like a clove and spice aroma with a little bit of vanilla. And then tasting it, you should get a little pepper and cinnamon up front, and then finish with an orange cream and caramel.
All right.
So.
And the Old Foresters these are stocks, man. These
aren't hard to find. No. Like I said, they are a little pricey in the $55 to $60 range, but not hard to find. As always, we've got our rating system.
Right. That's true. That's true. I always forget that.
We are getting new listeners every week, so we got to explain to them what the rating system is. And do you want to tell them, or you want me to tell them?
I'll tell them.
You go ahead and tell them. I'm gonna start.
All
see
right.
what we got going on over here.
So 1 through 4 for us, it's pretty simple. 1 being our lowest level, it's really not good. It didn't meet our flavor profile, and we might frown if you got it on your bar. That to us is a brown bag. Number 2, it's starting to get a little bit better, but number 2, it might still just be as good as a mixer. It's something that you might buy that you just keep on the shelf. That's a kind of a low price range that's good with a lot of different mixers. Number 3, it's starting to get better. It's a really much smoother, easier sipper, and we call that on the rocks. And then last but not least, our tried and true, that's the Glencairn. That's what we like. I like to drink mine out of a Glencairn, but that is straight up neat.
Especially one with a Bourbon Buzzed and Ballin podcast sticker on it.
That's right, with a BB&B sticker.
They're getting a little wore out. Funny story, I had when I was in Tuscaloosa this weekend to see the football game and visit with my daughter, I had her make me some new labels for the Glencairns. Got home, went to put them on. She printed them upside down, so they weren't sticky.
Uh-oh.
So she's going to bring me some more to Tennessee week. But,
there you go.
But yeah, we were trying to leave to come back home yesterday morning, and so she was rushing and just put the sheet in the wrong way in her printer.
Well, let's indulge, man. Statesman.
Well, I've already, so you go ahead, and I'm gonna talk a little while.
I definitely get a little peppery.
You know front. What I was gonna say was, I go on each week. We've got different bourbons. I go on their website and see what they say their aromas are, their notes are, their tasting is. This one is the first one to me that was spot on.
Oh.
I get the orange cream at the end. I got the spice on the aroma with a little bit of vanilla. So apparently I got the same taste buds and smell as whoever's working at Old Forester, because this is the first one, because we always kind of laugh about it each week that
there's
where'd they get waffles and maple syrup? There was no hint of it.
Definitely think that their bourbons are more complex than they really are.
But this one, I actually got everything that they had listed in their description.
Yeah, this one was nice. Up front, I got a little bit of a hug. For a 95.
Right, you want a little bit.
I got some pepper. I got a little oakiness.
And I definitely am getting that orange cream at the end.
Yeah, it's got a sweeter finish to me than the up front. I like it.
I like it too. You ready to rate that shit?
Yeah. Yeah, that's a solid 3.
Okay.
That's a solid 3 for me. I don't quite know if I want to put that in. On neat, man, but you're leaning towards the neat?
I'm leaning towards the neat.
The Old Forester lines are really good. This is definitely a name that I would recommend just having it.
Yeah, and like I said, I am so impressed with the way they described it, and I got all of that.
And to be quite honest, I'm still coming off of this cold.
Yeah. So
and it's changing my profile.
This is true.
To be honest with you, right now I'm a little pissed.
Yeah.
Because this disrate that shit.
Yeah,
it's not as fun.
We might have to veto your vote this week. It might just all be on me.
I'm thinking I might need not cast a vote, honestly.
Well, I'm gonna go with a 4. I'm gonna give it a neat. And you know me, I've only given out 3 others. So this is going up there for me. This one's going neat. I really enjoyed it. The complexity and all the different flavors and the way it started and finished. That one to me,
nice.
That's a good bourbon. That's a real good bourbon.
And the
I like the 95 proof, so it's not going to
knock you
out, but it's also not going to be a waste of calories.
I really like the Statesman bottle too, and the label looks really good. Looks really classy. The color is really nice on that Statesman.
Yep.
I'm obviously I
have
have
to
a bottle.
You'll have to revisit it.
Yeah,
when
I'll
your
definitely
taste buds
revisit.
are better.
Yeah, because I haven't had the Statesman before. That's the first time I've had the Statesman. I've had the Prohibition.
This one I haven't had. I've had the Statesman, but I haven't had the Prohibition. So I'm looking forward to it because the Prohibition, it's supposed to have a cherry, caramel, chocolate, and maple syrup aroma, and then the taste should be almost like a s'more with caramel and graham cracker up front, but then the chocolate and the toasted marshmallow, and then the graham cracker again at the end.
Say s'more one more time.
S'mores.
You notice how he says S''more?
That's how it's spelled.
S'more. He doesn't say s'more.
It's not
There's
s'mores.
a difference between s'mores and s'more.
How's it spelled?
S'more.
How's it spelled?
S'more.
S''.
Yeah, but I don't say apostrophe S.
Don't hate me for being proper and correct.
S'more.
Why don't you drink some more and tell me if you get the s'mores taste?
I definitely so this one, the Statesman, was definitely peppery up front.
A little spicy, the cloves
This
and the
one's
pepper.
clearly sweeter on my nose.
Yeah,
Definitely sweeter on my nose.
I definitely get the cherry.
Definitely sweet. Sweet.
I don't like it as much as the Statesman.
Yeah, I can't tell the difference. Honestly. I mean, I could be drinking turpentine right now, and I think if you put a little food coloring in it.
How you know you didn't? Could you taste the Visine I put in there?
Yeah, no, that's disappointing to me. So I'm not gonna rate that shit.
This one, like I said, I didn't enjoy it as much as the Statesman. So this one I am going to give the 3 to. I'm going to stick with my 4 on the Statesman. But this one I'm going to give it a 3. This one to me is on the rocks. That one's neat.
And there you can definitely tell the proof difference for sure, which influences maybe your rating as well.
Maybe a little bit. And sometimes you like that rock to help dilute that higher proof a little bit.
Yeah, I just think a rock, man, just domes my bourbon down.
It does.
Too much,
well,
man.
It's like when we went on that tour and the tasting, and they would just put 5 drops of water, and it would change the taste of it. Yeah,
for sure.
Yeah, so and sometimes it made it better, sometimes it made it worse. So it just depends. And I think this one, next time I drink it, I'm gonna drink it on the rocks and see if I enjoy it better. That one's going neat.
Cool. I'm looking forward to getting past this cold and
that definitely sucks when you're trying to sample
totally change
something
the
new and
profile,
bourbon,
man,
and you're gonna have to revisit these again when you get rid of that cold. Well, let me kill this off real quick.
Yeah, no, that's still some nice bourbons that.
Oh, absolutely.
Honestly,
And we're gonna do 2 more of the old Forster.
First.
That 115's kicking in. We'll do 2 more of the old Forsters next week.
We need to find that birthday.
Yeah, that's the unicorn.
Man, that would be nice.
I looked, a couple places while we were driving. There was a ABC store out in the middle of nowhere, right off the interstate, going to Tuscaloosa.
In Alabama?
Yeah, right when you cross over into Alabama, and I thought, oh, I'm going to find some. I did find some Sazerac rye, but that was the only thing that they had there that was worth buying. Everything else is everything you can find all day, every day.
Really?
Yeah, I was a little disappointed. I was looking forward to it, and I thought, yeah, I'm going to find some unicorns. No, it was a total disappointment. I probably won't even ever stop back in that one.
All right.
It just wasn't impressive. All right, well, that's episode 12, and we'll come back next week with episode 13. Of course, we'll start with an opening toast, then we'll give our scumbag of the week.
Scumbag of the week.
Yeah, like I said earlier, it's easier to come up with the scumbag than it is who we gonna honor this week. Usually, the toast, it's not hard, but it's usually there's just one or two. But the scumbags, there's usually half a dozen to choose from.
They're easy pickings, man. It's like fishing in a barrel for scumbags, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly. So we'll do that, and then we'll recap. You know, football, baseball, a little bit of hockey. You know, we'll just
obviously have baseball to talk about.
Yeah,
because going forward.
Yeah, because you got the best of 5 series going now, and then you'll have the AL and the NL championships and the World Series. Hockey's kicking off, or not kicking off, but they're dropping the puck tonight for hockey. That means basketball season's not far behind, also. So we're gonna
it's close.
We're gonna have a lot of sports to recap in the coming weeks, and
then college basketball coming up.
College basketball, that's right. And then I'm gonna come up with a list of 5. You're not gonna know what it is. It could be a person, it could be a place, it could be an event, it could be an accomplishment. Just 5 things. I'm gonna come up with 5. I want you to come up with 5, and we're gonna either diss it or respect it. So, and then give you a reason why. And you're not gonna know.
Doesn't have to be. It can be any topic. Doesn't have to be sports related.
I'm gonna keep all mine sports related.
Sports related.
I'm gonna keep
okay.
It, you know, I'll give you. I'll tell you what. It can be sports or bourbon. That's what we do. So keep it within the realm of the podcast.
You know, given our normal lists and our normal content, we're probably going to have like
there'll probably be some overlapping. There'll probably be some overlap, but that'd be fine because I'm not going to know what you're going to bring to me. You're not going to know what I'm bringing. So, and then we might have the same thing, but you might diss it and I might respect it.
Right.
You never know. So something tells me we might have 1 or 2 overlap, but I don't think it'd be much more than that.
Right.
I think because I'm gonna. I don't want to give away too much information. I can't be giving any hints because I want to hit you with where you have no idea what it is.
I'm already
going off the cuff.
Sneak over and come down from the damn ceiling and look at your.
Yeah, I'm not even gonna put it on my laptop. That way you can't look over my shoulder and see what's coming next. I'm not even gonna put it on the laptop. So and then, like I said, after we do the diss or the respect, we'll be back over here with 2 more of the Old Foresters.
Which Old Foresters we gonna do? Well, I mean,
whichever ones I can find.
Yeah.
So we'll see. We'll see which ones they have available, and we'll get those out here, and we'll rate them, and that'll be our Baker's Dozen. Episode 13 will be in the books.
13.
So, got anything to cheers with?
Yeah. For what it's worth, I can't taste it.
Yeah, right. That's probably tea.
No, that's Southern Star.
I was gonna say if you
American.
can't taste it, then next week do use tea because I don't want you wasting the good bourbon when you can't even enjoy it.
I know. Well, I was expecting to taste it. I mean, I can taste it, but honestly, this Southern Star tasted the same as both of them.
Really?
Yeah. This is a totally different flavor.
No, because those 2 were very different. So your taste buds definitely ain't in peak condition.
No, they're definitely not.
All right, well, we appreciate y'all tuning in, and we'll see you next week. Cheers.
Cheers.